Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about navigating your 20s. I recently turned 29 and this is going to be my final year in my 20s. So I was having a conversation with my little sister who is 6 years younger than me, and she was just asking, also, what have you learned from your 20s? And I thought, oh, okay, what I would share with my sister, I'm sure some people out here would also be interested in knowing, so I decided to do this video. So before I dive into the 10 things that I have learned over the past 10 years, I'm going to give you a brief background. 10 years ago, we just moved to the UK and I completely hated it here. But then from hindsight, there's been a lot of things I've learned. It's been a roller coaster, that I would tell you. There's been great moments. There's been moments where I'm just like, what the hell happened here? But that's life, isn't it? That's the joys of life, and you just have to accept how things go and learn from things like anybody else. And growing up, like I remember in grade 12, because I did my high school in Zambia, like all the way from grade 8 to grade 12 in Zambia. So I remember just before completing grade 12, we had this book called an author book. I'm sure if you went to school in Zambia, you signed an author book or some sort of thing. Anyway, I remember writing things that I envisioned. Like for my future, I was like, oh, by 25 I'll be married, I would have like 3 kids by now, and I'll be married to a tall, dark, handsome man. Well, I got that part now, so I got the darkest of them all, and I love him to bits. The point I'm trying to make is that we all have these sort of like a dream of how you want your life to plan out to be. And 99% of the time, it never turns out to be that way, because by 25, I was not even in a steady job. I was just completing my uni, actually. No, I was in my second year. 25, I was in my second year. And my friends by then had already graduated. I had to take a step back because I couldn't go straight to uni after I finished my A-levels. And I just felt so behind. That I felt like I'm not moving, everybody else is moving, why aren't I moving, right? And then the minute you start looking at things that way, you will always feel like a failure. You will always feel like you are so behind. But then if you focus on your own journey, life becomes like, why am I rushing things? Like, this is my own journey, this is my own path. So if you focus on your own path, things just become easier. But then you only learn that along the way. When you're in the situation itself, you never take time to think, oh, okay, my time or my path will turn out to be different from the other person. You just want to move along with everybody else. But if situations don't allow, then you have to just accept that that's how your life is turning out to be. My early 20s were more of an eye-opening time, because that's when I walked away from a horrible relationship. And then by 22, I was like, okay, what do I want to do now? Like, where is my life heading to? Then by 24, I went to uni. By then, friends had already gotten married, like friends started getting married, others were having babies. But then I didn't focus on that. I focused on my own progression. Come 25, I just felt like, okay, I have no boyfriend. And by 25, I had told myself that I would have a baby. I would have babies, not even a baby, like babies. And come 25, I was not even in this. Actually, I was in a relationship, but then at 26, that 3-year relationship ended. And I was then like, what the hell? Because we all know that starting all over again is like the most difficult thing, because it requires a lot of you to like open up to somebody and start that whole process over again. I just thought, okay, this is how life has turned out to be. I just have to pick up the pieces and start afresh. By 27, I had already met somebody else. It just worked out for me that way. I'm not saying everybody's journey is going to be like that, but that's how my journey turned out to be. Now I'm 29. I was meant to get married this month, but things didn't happen. But we thank God for good health, for life, and for a loving fiance. That's the brief background of my 20s, like really brief one, because if I was to go into the stories, we're gonna be here forever. So moving on to 10 things I learned in the past decade. Like, okay, the first one is not everybody reciprocates to your actions the same way you expect them to. What I mean by this is you might give people your all, but then you might not get the same energy you're giving them, right? And that's okay. I've learned to accept that. A good example would be with my social media thing. Not all my friends are into social media, right? So if I don't expect them to always comment or subscribe or, like to do the usual thing that content creators do, because they are not really into the social media thing like that. So I have to respect and acknowledge that and just not take things to heart. The other one is not everyone, like no one owes you 100% of themselves. Like people have got lives. The other one is people do not care for you less when they're busy with their own lives. I think that one is really important because there's times where you want to be the center of attention and other people have got things going on, and you have to accept the fact that everybody else has got other things going on. Their lives don't evolve around yours, so you have to just accept and know when your friend can't be there for you, because there are friends that will be there for you at different times. It's just a matter of knowing that this person does not care for you less just because they are not picking up your call at that particular time. The other point or the other lesson that I learned was your happiness is your responsibility, and I think that should be fundamental, because expecting somebody else to be the one to make you happy should be the last thing you should ever do, because you will just be disappointed. You should bring about your own happiness, and that comes from within. I'll give an example of my birthday. I had planned to do a photo shoot and all that, but then the weather, as usual, the UK weather was as horrible as could be. It was pouring down, it was just horrible. There was no way we were going to have that photo shoot, and I didn't want an indoor one, I wanted outside. So that did not happen, and I had to just get over that and quickly snap out of it. That turned things around and decided, okay, I'm just gonna groove to some good music, to put me in that good spirit, and that's how I turned that around. I didn't expect Happy to be the one to come and cheer me up. No, that's unfair for me to put that responsibility on him. So for me, I had to just snap out of it myself and then get into that happy mood that I was in. And the other lesson is do not force things. Absolutely don't force things, especially relationships. If you feel like things are not going naturally, I think that's a sign that maybe you should not go down that route. Even with friendships, like there's times where you're the one that's always giving, like you're always giving yourself and never receiving anything back. Then what's the whole point of you being in that friendship anyway? For me, I then realized that if I feel like I'm forcing things, it's a sign that let me just leave this, because it's not gonna go anywhere, right? So do not force things. Do not force a guy to be with you. Like there's no way you're gonna force a guy to be with you. If he doesn't want to be with you, he will not be with you. Similarly to a girl, like if she's not into you, guy, she's just not into you. Accept it. And then the other one is what is yours will locate you. It shall locate you. That was a huge turnaround for me. The minute I realized that, okay, what's meant for me will find me. Like it just turned things around. Like if I lose a job or things don't work out with somebody, my own blessing will come and locate me. And that's been like one of the best things to ever bring on board in my life, in my 20s. it helped me get over things easily. It helped me to accept that, okay, this disappointment happened, but another bus is gonna come around and I'll get onto that bus. And then, this is for the girls, really. And I've learned the hard way. Some of you might agree with me, some of you might not. Just because a guy talks about marriage with you, like you are talking about it, does not necessarily mean he's talking about marrying you. There's a difference, all right? Nowadays, guys know the right things to say to you, you know, to woo you over, you know, just to make you feel secure. I'm not saying every guy does that, all right? But there are others that use that sort of technique to actually like lure you, and before you know it, you're gonna start believing what they're telling you. Remember that just because a guy talks about marriage with you does not mean he's necessarily meaning he wants to marry you. I've had a situation where we've talked about marriage, even met my parents, but it never happened, right? And this is where I realized that this guy could be talking about marriage with you, but meanwhile, he's thinking about marrying somebody else, right? You're talking about all this, the future, but he's not thinking about the future with you. He's thinking about his own future with his ideal woman. Just be careful about getting overexcited about things that have not yet happened until something actually comes to fruition. Do not be quick to jump into conclusion to say, yes, we're getting married and all that. And then the most fundamental one is learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself as your body is changing. Like in my 20s, I went from skinny to all the way to size 12. When I was thin, I just didn't like looking at myself. I thought I was just like straight, shapeless. I had small boobs. I just didn't feel that good, right? And through time, my body has evolved, but I've learned to love the body I'm in. This is the body I have. If I don't love it, when will I ever love it? Love the body you are in. If you're not happy with the way it's looking, and if you can do something to change it, for example, exercising or changing your diet, then do so. Do not say bad things. Like, don't say bad words about your body. Oh, why are you like this? Or you're so ugly, or why can't you just be perfect? Because there's no perfect person out here. There are other people that have done, plastic surgery, but they're still not content with what they look like, because it all begins in here. If you're not happy with the way you look, no matter how much changes you make to it, you will never love it. That's one big lesson that I learned in my 20s, to love myself, and it's the best thing that I ever did, because by loving myself I gained confidence. I attracted the same sort of energy because I knew how I wanted to be treated, because I know I'm a queen, so whoever was coming into my life should be able to reach the same level and treat me the same way that I treat myself. And then lastly, focus on your own path. I can't stress enough how important that is. There's nothing wrong with you looking at how far your friend has come and then trying to gain inspiration from that, to motivate you. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to solely focus on, oh, so-and-so Maria just got married, she's got 2 kids. Everybody's path is different. One could have gotten married way before you, but then maybe along the line, they encounter their own life challenges. This is why it's really important to just focus on your own path and also be happy for others. When things go well for your friends, be happy for them. They are your friends. So if they're happy, their happiness should be your happiness, I believe, because my circle of friends, when something good happens, we celebrate. I celebrate with them. I'm happy for them because, if something is good is happening in their lives, I should be happy for them, and vice versa. Also build those relationships, build strong relationships with your friends, because you will need them at some point in your life. Be careful with how you choose your friends. You need to choose friends that will help you grow. You need to choose friends that will help you go to the next level. In a nutshell, that's about all the lessons that I've learned, and I will be happy to hear from you guys what lessons you've learned in your 20s. And before I go, I'd just like to say thank you to all my new subscribers. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell just to alert you each time that I post a video. As for now, I'll love you and leave you, and I'll see you in my next video.